Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Big Nemesis 18 here, coming at you through the web. Alright, guys, this is going to be Nemesis Takes on the video game industry. There's a lot I have to say, so this is going to be my first iteration of a series of YouTube videos that I'm going to be bringing to you weekly. Just recapping the industry, but first, let's introduce myself. I'm Big Nemesis 18, been on Twitter for many years, been gaming all my life since I was 2. I'm 28 years old almost in a few weeks, and I remember starting off on Jackal on regular Nintendo back when I was just a little wee boy. And my dad handed me a controller. It wasn't plugged in, of course, but Jackal was so fun to fake play. But eventually he did plug it in, those little red green Jeeps. Don't know if any of you will remember that or not. But Jackal was really fun. I was really good at it. My dad was quite surprised for my age. I was only 3 at the time or so. And ever since then, I have been hooked to video games. I've been streaming, twitch.tv/Big Nemesis 18. I'm sure some of you have checked me out over there. Also, I have a beautiful wife. I have 2 stepdaughters, and I have a son from a previous marriage. And luckily, my wife is the one that can make this happen. God bless her. She's a wonderful woman. Proud to be with her. And she makes these videos possible because I am filming this while they're in school. All right, guys, we're going to jump right down and get right into the nitty-gritty. We're going to jump right into it. And the first thing I want to move on to is The Division. If you haven't heard about The Division, you've been living under a rock, okay? We're just going to say that. I'm sure you've heard about it. Everybody and their mothers have heard about it. No, probably not their mothers. Unless they're gaming. If they're gamers, whatever, they probably heard about it. All right, so I'm going to just assume you've heard about The Division and move on. The first thing I want to talk about is if you follow me on Twitter, I'm sure you saw my tweets last week about The Division and got into it with a writer on Forbes, Eric Kane. He wrote an article, The 5 Biggest Problems with the Destiny Beta. The article in itself, it kind of boiled my blood because you're writing the 5 biggest problems about a game that's still in beta. That makes absolutely no sense to me. Yes, you can have opinions on it. Yes, you can write about 5 problems. However, some of the problems introduced were irrelevant to the game altogether. For example, number 2 on his list, shooting looters is weird. And he went on to compare it to Ferguson and how it's a disgrace to even have that in the game. And I quote, "A lot of these people are probably just trying to survive the calamity. And here we are just gunning them down with impunity." Yeah, Eric Kane said that. We are gunning down people that are just trying to survive. Eric Kane, have you ever played any other video games whatsoever? Because last I checked, a lot of shooters, you're shooting people who are trying to survive. I mean, we're all trying to survive. I mean, you don't go into a video game and get shot and go, "Yeah, that's the end of the game. Hey, I'm just trying to survive. Bye. Have a good day." No, that's not how it works. And he's so out of touch with reality that he can't even differentiate between realism and fiction. These are video games, okay? You know, I won't bore you with a lot of the tweets that I sent or anything like that, but The Division, in my experience with it, which I was in the alpha, I was in the beta, is phenomenal. You know, I was under NDA under the alpha, so I couldn't share any other thoughts on it then. But are there problems? Of course. There's always problems with any game that comes out now. Unfortunately, we are plagued with issues in this generation of video games. And that's a whole nother topic. But anyway, he said it rubs him the wrong way playing the game with all the revelations of police brutality. You know, I guess he would be the one that would want a video game that you walk in, you see somebody shooting at you. "I'm the police. Stop. Let me take you to court." You have a court. You have all that, this, that, and the other. You got to try them. What a boring video game. Now, The Division isn't that type of video game. You are activated to regain control of the city that is filled with looters. That's the video game, guys. You're in New York City trying to regain control of Manhattan after a deadly virus. There is no court system. Number 3 on his list was the setting is very pretty, but also pretty dismal. Well, no shit. You're in a forsaken city that's filled with looters where almost everybody has died because of that plague. Yeah, it's going to be pretty dismal. Well, anyway. The combat is only okay. However, you praise Destiny's combat, which is pretty similar, other than it's not a cover-based shooter. But you praise Gears of War. That makes a whole lot of sense. All right, we're going to be moving on to comparing The Division to Destiny and why you probably shouldn't do that. Destiny was a first of its kind. Hands down, unarguably, a first of its kind on next-gen consoles. I played the shit out of Destiny. And a lot of my friends can attest that every time they signed on, I was always on Destiny. So, Destiny will always have a place in my heart. And we'll get to some of the discontent I have with Destiny later. But when comparing The Division to Destiny, you probably shouldn't do it. Yeah, actually, you shouldn't do it at all. The Division is The Division and Destiny is Destiny. Well, a lot of articles are going up as of late and comparing games and saying, well, it should be more like Destiny. Or it should be more like The Division. Alright, guys, come on. Play the game and just review the game based on what's in the game. It's not Destiny. It's not any other game. You can't compare a combat and this, that, and the other, okay? What you can do is say, listen, I'm in The Division. I'm shooting. It feels good to me. The hit markers are there. The shooting is there. The fun is there. The friendship game playing is where it shines. You jump in, you're with friends, and going to that dark zone is fun. For some. And that's why you shouldn't be comparing it to Destiny. Destiny players are going to come over, and they're going to be used to going through raids and being able to keep any of the drops that they get. Now, if Destiny would have been The Division, Destiny, as soon as you got your drops from Oryx or Crota or Atheon, your teammates could turn on you, or anybody in the dark zone or anybody that was in the raid would be able to turn on you, kill you, take your loot. Ooh, I got a nice Fatebringer. Somebody who's done it 100 times, who still has yet to get a Fatebringer, decides to turn, shoot you, and take your Fatebringer. That's The Division. That's why they shouldn't be compared. In Destiny, you can't do that. In The Division, invite somebody to your group. Oh my gosh, I got a high-end assault rifle. Kick them from the group, kill them, take their gear. Now that is heart-wrenching gameplay that can only be found in games like H1Z1, The Division's Dark Zone. And that's why I get so aggravated at all these sites, YouTubers, etc., that are trying to compare game to game to game to game to game. Stop. Play a game. Have fun with it. That's it. Okay? All right. Also been seeing a lot of articles coming out about The Division and the size of the map. You know, I was in a party chat with a buddy of mine, and I did a size of the map, and it's going to take about 10 minutes to run from the farthest western portion to the farthest eastern portion based on the math I did. It's going to take about 10 minutes. And I know I've seen some publications out there that were saying about 8.5, but they did that in the middle of the map. I'm talking about the furthest western to the furthest eastern. Other games such as GTA, yes, you can drive. The Division, you can't. You got to walk. Even Destiny, you had to take a Sparrow. And I remember when Destiny came out, they were talking about the Taken King being the largest map they created. Bullshit. Yeah, largest in comparison to the Sparrow, because on the other maps, you could take a Sparrow. Taken King, you had to walk. That's why it seemed larger, but it really wasn't. All right, so the division, when it does come out, I've already looked at the map. The map is pretty big. Map is huge. And I got to thinking, there's going to be a lot to do because you have underground tunnels that some weren't even able to be explored because of the red zones and outside the beta. You have 4 more, if I recall correctly, 4 more dark zones that you still are able to explore. And this is just on release. You're going to have a lot to do, guys. Stop comparing them. Stop. I've seen them compared to Fallout. I've seen them compared to GTA. And just stop. The game is big. In addition, people have been also talking about there is not much left for the division to reveal when compared to Destiny. Yeah, no joke. There's not much left to reveal. Destiny beta was half the game, excluding a raid, which we knew was coming. We had no idea what it was. Come on, folks. We have special things coming to the division. Stop being idiotic. Okay, the division, you still have no idea about the skill trees, the skill perks. You have the crafting, you have the blueprints. You have the expansions of the bases. There is so much more to discover to the division. And if you're going to compare the two, which do not do, you're full of shit. Now, moving on to Destiny, since a lot of people want to compare the two, and I'm not going to do so. We're going to discuss Destiny's lack of content and their bullshit. And I'm going to call them out on their bullshit. Because it's bullshit. I'll say bullshit one more time. Alright. Destiny has went downhill significantly since the release of The Taken King. And don't even get me started on the story shit. Everything that was prior. And all that. That's a whole nother story. A lot of you, I'm sure, that are diehard Destiny fans have read about it. But Destiny right now is focusing on PvP, taking comments from top YouTubers. You need to do this, you need to do that. Nerf this, the sniper rifle's OP, and this, that, and the other. That's the issue with the game right there. Listening to top YouTubers to dictate your game is not a sustainable process. It will not work. Because you are isolating your actual true fans of the game. So, for example, you might not agree with my opinion on it, which is perfectly fine. We all have opinions. That's the way it is. I'm not ever going to tell somebody they can't write this, they can't record this, they can't play this. It's a free country. We're America. America. Nonetheless, I'm not going to go to a game and say, listen, I don't like it. Change it right now. My fan don't like it. No, don't like it. Create the game that you want to create, guys. That's all I'm asking. If you like it as developers, keep it. Now, moving on, I will tell you what made me stop playing the game. Okay? I won't tell you to change anything. I won't tell you what to do. But I'm going to tell you why I stopped playing the game. The new raids significantly decreased the opportunity and the ability to reach max rank without a huge grind fest. Okay, before you start bitching, wah, this, that, and the other, listen. Okay? I had fun doing Atheon and Crota working up to in-game gear. Alright, that made me feel powerful. In addition, I enjoyed having a fine line between a grind fest and being handed to me. So, for example, Atheon and Crota, I was, well, more Crota than Atheon, but my best days were in Crota because the gear, yes, I was frustrated. I couldn't get the boots to reach max rank. I just couldn't get them. But I kept coming back every week. That was fun. Oryx comes out. Not only is gear RNG'd for light level, the drop itself is RNG'd. That is an issue for me. It's RNG on top of RNG. that wasn't the only issue that I had. There were exotics that were advertised in the Taken King that never came to light, and still haven't. Exotics still aren't dropping at 320. I had fun with 3 of coins, but not even the 3 of coins drop a lot of the stuff. You get duplicates. Folks, I want to see what was advertised. You already have them. So bullshit if you want to tell me they were cut for later. Okay, listen. Give me the shit I paid for. They were in advertisements. You advertised them as Taken King. Give me the Taken King items that you promised. Don't put them behind a paywall. Don't put them behind future DLC that I got to pay for again when you've already created it. Don't do that shit to me. And moving on to silver that was introduced in the game. A lot of people I know have issues with the silver and this, that, and the other microtransactions and blah, blah, blah. Okay. First off, nobody's ever going to tell me how I can spend my money. Microtransactions are heavily sold in free MMOs and MOBAs as a style to pay to increase and further your character. I'm guilty of buying them in MOBAs. I'm guilty of buying them in MMOs. However, we have a whole nother scenario on our hands here. You're selling clothing items. You're selling vanity stuff. All right, just coming out of the Division blog as I'm recording this video. The Division Open Beta arrives first on Xbox One between the 18th and the 21st of February. All other platforms will run between the 19th and the 21st of February. So it looks like it's going to have a day exclusivity on Xbox One, which we know Ubisoft has teamed up with Xbox to do so. I don't agree with exclusivities on Xbox. It isolates players. Don't like it. For example, the Destiny exclusivity with a strike that Xbox players have yet to see. And by the way, I own Destiny on both consoles. But still, the exclusivity is a nightmare for gamers. I don't like that some people are left out in the cold because of their choice of a console. It's not fair to gamers, so don't do it. But then again, I can't tell you what to do. All right, so Destiny PvPers also preach about nerfing and releasing PvP-only content. You have the Crimson Doubles that are coming out in time for February 14th, Valentine's Day, if you celebrate that. I will be celebrating it with my wife. And a lot of people are saying they're abandoning PvE. They are abandoning PvE. When's the last time you heard anything about a PvE? Hell, they're just now fixing the Oryx teleportations for the Oryx challenge. Come on, guys. They're not focusing on PvE. Maybe they'll come out and say, ooh, we're releasing these 320 exotics that Nemesis wanted. But they're not going to say that. But nonetheless, I hope PvE sides of the game do get some information. As of right now, PvP is just taking over Destiny. And yeah, some people do play PvP, but the game's dying, folks. You got to admit it. It's dying. Because there is no content. And if you're on a 10-year plan, you're doing a hell of a job trying to keep those players for 10 years. Not. You know, the CEO just stepped down, and a new CEO has stepped up, the prior COO of the company. And that's phenomenal, in my opinion, because he's already more of a presence than what it is now. Honestly, I didn't even know who the CEO was prior. First thing on his agenda was sending out emails asking people that hadn't logged in a while why they haven't logged in. I filled out my survey, submitted it, and everything I've said earlier was in that email. And that's wonderful. They're actually wanting to listen now. And I hope they do more listening from the diehard fans, the casual players, and everybody, not just top YouTubers. I hope they listen to everybody, because that is where your money and income comes from, not these people creating these videos on these games. Okay? Everybody has their own personal opinions, and that's just the way it is. Let's move on to games that are coming out soon to kind of end the stream here. We have a lot of cool games coming out. As you know, The Division on March 8th. We also have Hitman that's coming out on March 11th. We have a Hitman beta that's going to be releasing at the end of February if you've pre-ordered it. And that's going to be a hit as well. I grew up on Hitmans. Hitman were wonderful games, and hopefully the new one that's created by Square Enix can latch on to those diehard fans, because that's what they need right now. And I am excited to try the beta. Also, The Division is having that open beta, so make sure you get in on that. And until next time, hit me up in the comments section. I'd love to know what you hear. Talk to me. The industry has information releasing daily by the minute, and I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about next week. And until next time, Big Nemesis 18 signing out.